Yo and hello and welcome to the Idiot's Lounge. Just gonna be testing out the new microphone because apparently I needed one. Figured I'd read some shit to and kill some time before work while I did that. So let's see. First up, Roger the kangaroo. Enormous Rude dies at age 12. Roger, a kangaroo who won global fame for his enormous size and impressive physique, has died at the age of 12. The Roo was rescued as a joey after his mother was killed in a car accident and grew up at the Kangaroo Sanctuary in Alice Springs in Australia. And he grew up a lot, ending up more than 2 meters, 6'7" tall, and weighing 89 kilograms or 196 pounds. The sanctuary announced his death from old age at the weekend, saying they had lost their beautiful boy. And this article was posted on the 10th, so yesterday. Okay. So this weekend he lost. He was still a baby when I saved him from his mother's pouch after she'd gotten killed on the highway, Chris Brolga Barnes told the BBC. Hey, Terry, how goes it? Mr. Barnes set up the sanctuary as a place to raise him. The marsupial soon became the alpha and had 12 partners. Damn. There are currently more than 50 kangaroos at the site. At the beginning, there was a close bond, but soon he looked at me as competition and wanted to fight me, said Mr. Barnes. Roger first came to the world's attention in 2015 when images of him crushing a metal bucket in his hands using his huge muscles went viral. Not so bad, just testing out the microphone I got because of Hammer's complaints. Hopefully I don't sound as bad as I used to. Roger was as muscular as it come, Mr. Barnes said, pointing out that while his size and strength were not entirely unusual, they still set him apart from many other male kangaroos. Ever since he was featured on TV and clips went viral, there's been a lot of love and attention for him, Mr. Barnes said. Now that he passed away, we are again getting a lot of attention and have received condolences from people all around the world. Well, naturally. In his later years, Roger had struggled with arthritis and fading vision, but was loving his retirement, Mr. Barnes said in 2016. Kangaroos can live for as long as 14 years, but rarely make it to that age when in the wild. Life is much harder in the wild for an older kangaroo, Mr. Barnes told the BBC. When they get sick, the dingoes, our wild dogs, will attack and eat them. Dingoes, eh? He said Roger had been buried in the sanctuary, so he will always be here. Well, that's nice. Yeah, but as I mentioned, I was using an internal microphone, which is likely why he was complaining. Getting a lot of buffering? Well, that's to be expected, I suppose. Next up, Ocasio-Cortez misquotes Constitution while threatening to run for president. Says a lot when it has to become a threat for someone to run for president. New York Democratic Rep-elect Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez misquoted the U.S. Constitution and threatened to run for president just to spite Republicans. Because that's smart. Go for it. Please, go for it. Everyone loves a good faceplant. During a photo shoot at Harvard University as part of an event for Politico, Ocasio-Cortez falsely claimed that the constitutional age restriction to run for president only applies to men. In between the photo shoot, Politico notes that the photographer joked with Ocasio-Cortez about running for president in a few years. You can't even run for president for another 6 years, the photographer said, noting that she had just turned 29 years old. Ocasio-Cortez responded by falsely stating that the U.S. Constitution only places a presidential age limit on men, not women. No, not for a long time, thank God, Ocasio-Cortez said. Well, yeah, agreed, thank God. Although we've been joking that because the Equal Rights Amendment hasn't been passed yet, the Constitution technically says he cannot run unless he's 35, she falsely claimed. She also threatened to run for president if Republicans don't pass the Equal Rights Amendment. It's pretty sad that between Hannah Gadsby and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the one who makes me laugh the most isn't the professional comedian. It kind of makes me laugh that people still refer to her as a professional comedian. Hannah, not Alexandria. So what we'll do is we'll force the Republican Party to pass the Equal Rights Amendment by threatening to run for president, she continued. Article 2, Section 1 of the U.S. Constitution explicitly states, any person, not he, as she claimed. Below is an excerpt of the relevant clause. No person except a natural-born citizen or a citizen of the United States at the time of the adoption of this Constitution shall be eligible to the office of president. Neither shall any person be eligible to that office who shall not have attained to the age of 35 years and been 14 years a resident within the United States. Yeah, I'm not sure where she got the he from. But hey, let's go with it. I have noticed that Junior here has a habit of posting nonsense about me whenever the Mueller investigation heats up. Please, keep it coming, Junior. It's definitely a very, very large brain idea to troll a member of a body that will have subpoena power in a month. Have fun, she wrote. No. That's beneath me. That's beneath you. Moving on. A member-elect of the United States Congress threatened a private citizen for trolling her with an image. Yeah, see? Beneath me. During the funeral on Wednesday for the late President George H.W. Bush in Washington, D.C., Ocasio-Cortez spent the day reflecting about herself and giving praise to those who complimented her. What is she, a 16-year-old girl on Instagram? Oh my God, I just posted a new selfie. Worship me, pay attention to me. Oh, I should have used a filter. Last week, two far-left outlets, the New York Times and Washington Post, brutally fact-checked Ocasio-Cortez for citing a highly misleading report to claim that Pentagon accounting errors totaled $21 trillion. Jesus Christ. She argued that the $21 trillion could pay a major chunk of the Medicare for All plan she supports, which would cost roughly $32 trillion. No. Just no. The Department of Defense hasn't spent $21 trillion since it was created over 70 years ago. Ocasio-Cortez had no earthly idea that it is mathematically impossible for the Pentagon, which had a budget of $500 billion in that time frame, to waste $21 trillion. Last Sunday, Ocasio-Cortez implied that White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders is a liar. Oh, for fuck's sakes, what else is she going to do for attention? That's enough of that headache. Ugh, look at that face. Ugh. Who wants to see that? Seriously. You're welcome. Oh, is it now? Oh, that kind of sucks. I'm not getting it on my phone, and I can't see it on the thing because it works differently than it used to. Hmm. It's, Marlboro maker gets into Canadian pot industry. Just seen this one. That'd be weird if it was only at your end, Terry. Altria Group Incorporated, the maker of Marlboro cigarettes for the U.S. market, is pushing into the Canadian cannabis industry, marking the major tobacco company's first foray into the nascent sector. Shares of cannabis peers gained on the news. Altria agreed to acquire 146.2 million newly issued shares for $16.25 Canadian, each a 16% premium from yesterday's close. That would give Altria a 45% stake in the Canadian cannabis producer. Altria will also get warrants that will give the option to increase its stake to 55%. Ooh, nice. And for them at least. Not sure what that means for us, but the deal with Cronos gives Altria a foothold in Canada, which in October became the first major economy to legalize marijuana for adult use on a federal level. Cronos, meanwhile, gets product development and commercialization capabilities and deep regulatory expertise. The company said in a press release. The biggest companies have avoided investing in U.S. cannabis business. Oh, wait, no, I skipped one. Altria also announced it would discontinue two of its next-generation tobacco products, Mark 10 and Green Smoke e-vapor products, as well as its oral nicotine-containing products, and focus on more compelling reduced-risk tobacco product opportunities. That's a mouthful. The company will record a $200 million write-down. The biggest companies have avoided investing in U.S. cannabis businesses, which are legal in a handful of states because of the federal prohibition on the drug. That's made Canada an attractive place for investors and businesses to push into the growing sector. Altria has been grappling with the steady decline of tobacco smoking rates and sees potential to tap into a new segment of growth as marijuana moves into the mainstream. Chief Executive Howard Willard said the investment is an exciting new growth opportunity for Altria. Well, I can only imagine. Altria already has a deal to sell Philip Morris's Heat Not Burn IQOS product in the U.S. if it gets regulatory approval, which would give it access to a different market than that of the traditional cigarette smoker. As one of the largest companies in the adult consumer products sector, Altria has decades of experience in regulatory, government affairs, compliance, product development, and brand management that we expect to leverage, particularly as new markets for cannabis open around the world, Kronos said in its press release. Meanwhile, Altria is also said to be in talks to buy a stake in Juul, another fast-growing company threatening to the traditional cigarette space. The possible expansions in more than one direction show it's open to any number of approaches to resume growth. Investors cheered the news, sending the company's shares up as much as 2.5% in early trading. Altria had declined 24% this year through Thursday's close. That's a nice little happiness for them, I suppose. Shares of cannabis peers rose. Kronos surged 36% to above $14 per share at 8:25 a.m. in pre-market trading in New York, trading to levels it hasn't seen since September. Peers in the marijuana sector also gained, with Aurora Cannabis Incorporated rising 8.3%, Alfrea Incorporated adding 8%, Canopy Growth Corporation rising 6%, and Tilray Incorporated gaining 5%. All right. That was informative, just not the kind of information I was expecting. Moving on. Next up in the news, PewDiePie. PewDiePie! Apparently, people are campaigning to get PewDiePie more subscribers because straight men have too much time on their hands. See, that's not what straight men do when they have too much time on their hands. Just saying. Just saying. You would know that if you were, well. Let's read what they have to say. I'm not saying people shouldn't be straight. I just don't need their culture shoved in my face all the time. Lately, I've been inundated with some PewDiePie nonsense, and I just can't deal anymore, folks. Apparently, PewDiePie, the most highly subscribed to YouTuber, is in the news this week because he might soon be losing that title. Even more hilarious is that PewDiePie might lose his title to an Indian music company called T-Series. To fight back against losing his throne, PewDiePie has started a campaign to keep himself the most highly subscribed person on YouTube. He doesn't really care. It's just for fun, and it's just something new, man. Like, God, you guys are just looking for reasons to get after someone for something. Yes, Terry, yes. All us straight guys. Source of all evil in the world. No matter, don't believe the lies. It's not the women's. It's all the straight men's. If you've been delightfully unaware of Felix PewDiePie Shellberg up until this point, I'm sorry to burst your bubble. His YouTube channel originally gained a lot of success from his comedic videos about gaming. The funny video genre of YouTube video is wildly popular today among straight nerd fanboys, and that is particularly because of the mark that PewDiePie has left on the platform. Why are they all gonna be straight, huh? Why are they all gonna be nerds, huh? Why are you assuming shit, man? There are plenty of chicks who dig PewDiePie's videos, man. There's plenty of males, females, made-up genders, all sorts of things. All sorts of people, rather, that like PewDiePie's content. But go on, continue ragging on the one group. Unsurprisingly, Shellberg's fame and success have not come without controversy. No. AKA racism and Nazi imagery. Never mind. According to the Wall Street Journal, 9 videos between August 2016 and February 2017 had Nazi or anti-Semitic content. In one video, Shellberg hired people from a freelance site to hold up a sign that said, "Death to all Jews." So, that's something. Because of these videos, Shellberg ended up losing a partnership with the Disney-owned Maker Studios. But it didn't stop there. Later in 2017, Shellberg got called out for yelling the N-word at an enemy during a stream of Player Unknown's Battlegrounds. Oh my fucking Christ. Pull your head out of your fucking snatch and get over it. You wouldn't care if it was some no-name who did it. And as to the death to all Jews shit, I am not so sure. I'm not sure about that. I would have to check into that, but that doesn't sound like he'd do something if he didn't. He did. I don't think he. From what I've seen, I don't think Pete would do something like that if he didn't think he could make it funny and obviously a joke. But of course, his straight gamer fans immediately came to his defense, claiming that he was just stressed or frustrated, as with most of the content creators in his section of the internet. When they do something offensive, no matter who in the world responds negatively to it, their mostly male audiences will do pretty much nothing. I didn't know you had it so bad, man. Oh man, it's gotta suck. It's gotta suck being such a little bitch. Like, come on, seriously, you're just stretching here. PewDiePie has always been an interesting symbol for a larger conversation taking place online. Because PewDiePie isn't owned by a network or a media company, there is kind of nothing to stop him. YouTube has proven time and time again with some of their biggest channels like PewDiePie and Logan Paul that little will be done to punish them when they do something offensive or inappropriate. The only people who can hold him accountable are his fans, and because majority of the people in his community are straight white men, that won't be happening anytime soon. Jesus Christ, seriously? If they were truly woke, they'd be trans lesbians. There's no excuse to be a straight man in 2018. Right? Like, oh. It would be one thing for PewDiePie to simply exist on YouTube, but he still, after all of this, remains completely supported. And not just by fans, but by other creators in the community. Just in this campaign, gaming YouTubers, Jacksepticeye and Markiplier, who also started this really bad clothing brand together, encourage people to subscribe to PewDiePie. Markiplier specifically had a live stream titled, "I literally won't shut up until you subscribe to PewDiePie," where he, with an admittedly sexy voice, ranted about the battle between these channels for nearly 50 minutes. Oh my god. So you took a break from whining to hit on Markiplier? Let me know how that goes. Something that I'll give PewDiePie credit for is that during this campaign, some people were making racist remarks to T-Series, the Indian music channel, and in response, PewDiePie encourages fans to donate to Child Rights and You, a non-profit organization fighting against child labor in India. Yeah. You damn right you're gonna give him fucking credit for that. Like, seriously, you're gonna. Honestly, with the way this article is going, I thought you were gonna take the opposite route with that one. But props to you for at least having the balls to do that right. I thank you for that. Or the tits, whatever. I don't judge. PewDiePie said that he found these comments to be distasteful and unnecessary, but followed that up with saying, "I've obviously made Indian jokes and stuff like that, but I do that of all countries, and this is not what I'm about." It's hard to grasp that people in 2018 still try to make a fine distinction between racist jokes and racist comments. Sorry, friend, if you're making fun of other countries and their people, you kind of have to take responsibility when your audience does the same. No. You are not responsible for the actions of your audience. Unless, of course, you are full on going out there and absolutely making a complete effort to obviously encourage said audience to do certain things. No, your audience has a mind of their own. And even then, you can't be completely held responsible. Your audience has a mind of their own. They make their own choices, their own decisions. They do their own actions. Their consequences are theirs and theirs alone. Just getting tired of seeing that. With everything going on in the world, it's more than slightly upsetting that this is what is taking up space. Like, damn, is that what it's like to not be marginalized? Is this the dumb stuff you get to spend time on? Sign me up. I have to admit, I would be thrilled if PewDiePie, with his racist history, was deranked by a bunch of brown people. Whoa! Pump the brakes right there, fella. I'm not sure that's entirely PC, but that's on you now. It would prove that karma was very real and it was time for him to cash in. In short, go subscribe to PewDiePie on YouTube. I may have edited that last line a little bit. Just censoring a bit. So, Ryan Khosravi, that's the writer of this article. Okay, then. Like, how sad does your life have to be that you have to go stretching out to find something to be pissed off with like that? That's just ridiculous. But speaking of PewDiePie, here's a little note from our good friend Coppercap. PewDiePie might not be racist or anti-Semitic, but he is irresponsible. He is one of the more prominent channels on YouTube, and if not the most prominent. And with that prominence comes a sort of power. He has used that power irresponsibly, and in doing so caused what some refer to as the adpocalypse, and the fall of many channel sources of revenue. He's created problems for the community, and he needs to be held accountable for his actions, not pushed to even more heights of subscriber counts and power. So this is why I have to destroy him, by lowering myself to his level maturity-wise, and call him and his 9-year-old army out on a diss track, which will be coming up later this week. Expect it. Coppercap. You know what? I need to. Reading it doesn't do it justice. Where is it? Da, 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 da. Hopefully, Buffer cooperates with you, Terry, long enough for you to see this. No, it's not. Someone should have told him Santa only gives gifts to good kids, and he seems like a kid that would be on Santa's list of people to avoid for sure. No one does. No one wants any of that. Notice how you're always doing this alone? So yeah, that happened. Oh, I see the lag on the video now. Could have been just because I was playing a video, but yeah. So there's that. Should be worth a laugh. And where was it? Speaking of worth a laugh. Where is it? I should subscribe to Pewds and Tears just to declare my radical centrism. Or you could just do nothing and declare your radical laziness. That's like a fun option too. Yes. And this is just golden. Julia Roberts finds life and her holes get better with age. Oh, you. Uh, I'll just grab the link for that in a second here and put it in the chat or something. Or, but and anything else? Oh yeah, where's that one? Where's that one at? Here we go. Nuns accused of embezzling $500,000 from Catholic school to gamble in Vegas. Los Angeles, California. CBS local. Two longtime nuns at St. James Catholic School in Torrance allegedly embezzled as much as $500,000 in tuition fees and donations, perhaps spending some of the money on trips and gambling at casinos while telling parents the school was operating on a shoestring budget. Officials and parents told the Long Beach Press-Telegram. Bank records show Sister Mary Margaret Kruper and Sister Lana Lane, okay, Smallville, were embezzling from the school for at least 10 years, the Press Telegram reports. Kruper, who retired as the school's principal earlier in this year, handled all tuition checks and fees. She allegedly withheld some checks and Chang were aware of. Who's Chang? You said Lang. Now it's Chang. Are they all the same? Can we pick a name? While investigators found the two gave some of the stolen money back to the school, the rest was used for their personal gain. They kept up the charade, telling parents that the school was operating on a tight budget, all the while using the embezzled funds for lavish vacations and trips to the casino. The report claims the Archdiocese and the church are not pursuing criminal charges after the nuns said they're sorry. Oh, okay. All is forgiven, my child. Uh, 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 that's it. There's no repercussions. Like, well, that was kind of boring. I was hoping for a little more something. Oh well. Guess that'll do it for today then. Thanks for stopping by, Terry. And take it easy.